Hi to Team Charlie Phillips. So Charlie Phillips is a prominent, a, a young politician, but already a politician who's got to a very high position in Irish politics. So outgoing deputy leader of Fianna Fáil before all the parties joined into the Harps or the Shamrocks. And he was Minister for Public Expenditure. So really senior politician, even though he's only in his mid 30s. And he's from Dublin, he's from the Lucan area as well. So a politician that seems to be going places. A lot of people would say, oh, this is the man to replace Pat Patterson. Pat Patterson, you will see, is another of the candidates in this race, who's the Taoiseach, the former leader of Fianna Fáil, Charlie's mentor. And there'll be a bit of fun there between Charlie going up against his old mentor as well. Obviously, he's a member of the In Club to a certain degree. Well, to a large degree, he's a minister. He's someone a lot of people would say probably would have been in ordinary politics a future Fianna Fáil leader, future Taoiseach, given how quickly he's moved up through the political ranks. Not someone who's going to be too upset with the status quo, because he is part of the status quo. He's a minister, but someone who can say, look, I'm a younger politician. We've done a lot of things right in the past few years, but there's other things we can do. There's things we can do better. And maybe now Pat Patterson has been brilliant, blah, blah, wonderful guy, lovely guy. But I think it's time now for a new generation to take over, with me to the fore, obviously. So his supporters will praise him for the fact he's reached such a high position in Irish politics so quickly. The man is a genius. He will leave Ireland to other greater economic prosperity. His detractors say he's reached the pinnacle of politics in a short time, and say that's because he's a spoofer and he'll be found out soon. So there's all these different, like, is he someone who's reached the heights of politics because of his talent, his genius? That's the argument you want to make. Your rivals will try to make a different argument. And no doubt that'll be something you might see said about you on the forum, possibly by a candidate related to myself, I'll be honest, or someone related to my team. So Charlie Phillips, as I said, he is the political equivalent of him in real life is Jack Chambers, who is the current deputy leader of Fianna Fáil and a high-ranking minister in the Irish government. Other team members, Paul Berry, Charlie's boyfriend, who is also a Fianna Fáil politician, a councillor in Palmerstown, Fonthill, which is, as you know, next door to Lucan. But he's more direct than Charlie is. He isn't afraid to call a spade, to get involved in a row, in a fight if needs be, whereas Charlie will probably be trying to be more presidential, more consensual. Rita Harney, who is an economics advisor, former economics advisor for the Irish Independent, who worked with Charlie, has been working with Charlie in the Department of Public Expenditure, and is now taking time out to help run Charlie's presidential election campaign. That's all. Patsy Phillips, who is Charlie's mother. She has some political experience of her own. She worked with another member of the Harp Party for a long time before they fell out over a personality clash. That's P.O. Mahoney. Now, I don't think anyone's playing P.O. Mahoney here, so unfortunately, there's no chance for a bit of fun with that. But anyway, if there's four of you in the team, one of you obviously has to be Charlie, and then one of you has to be Paul, one of you has to be Rita, one of you has to be Patsy. Again, the idea is Charlie is obviously, he wants to show he's competent, he's a man going places, but he doesn't want to say that himself, because in Irish politics that's looked on in a bad light. You're bragging, you're boastful, you're too big for your own boots. So Charlie has to try and put himself forward, but not be too boastful about himself. Paul, Rita and Patsy, however, they can, however, say how great Charlie is. That's the great thing about team members. They can boast about Charlie because they're talking about Charlie. It's not Charlie bigging himself up, he's team members. So Charlie can post differently to the way the others post. So main advice, decide who's who in the team very quickly. You have a team of four, you have an advantage. Make use of that advantage. Decide who's Charlie, decide who's the other team members, and start posting as soon as you can. First two elections, Leitrim and Louth. Charlie's a more urban candidate, obviously from Dublin. Probably makes more sense to aim for Louth first. So you might decide to just go all in for Louth because there's not that many days left. Or you could decide, well, two of us will go to Louth or three of us, and the rest of the team will go to Leitrim. Then Laois, Longford, Limerick are the next primaries. Again, you've got Limerick City. A lot of delegates in Limerick. Makes sense to put a bit of an effort into Limerick. Then you might decide whether to hit Laois and Longford or one of those counties as well. Last few primaries then, if you're still in the running, you have Dublin City, which you're a Dublin candidate. You have to make a goal to try and win Dublin. But there's other primaries as well, which you can't afford to miss out on or overlook. If you're one of two or three remaining candidates, then obviously try to get the lower place candidates to suspend their campaigns, but also make sure that they endorse you and they join your team, because that means you have more people in your team then, more people to post, which is a good reason to play this. You can obviously have fights with my candidates, my characters, but try not to get in too many fights with the other student members of the Harp Party, because ideally, if it's a close race at the end, you want to get a few of those of the lower placed candidate teams to suspend their campaigns and endorse you. Anyway, there's a bit of advice. The main thing I'd say, try and get up and running quickly. Try to start posting, because the deadline for Leitrim and Louth is this coming Sunday. Laois, Longford and Limerick is Wednesday. If you don't make any impact in those contests, it's really game over at this stage, at least in terms of the election. Obviously, if you don't post at any stage in the next few weeks, it's game over in terms of marks. So post as quick as you can. Try to be competitive in the election, but definitely remember that all posts, you need to post to earn marks. So the more posts, the more marks, the more high quality posts, even more marks.